My name's Brandon. Welcome to Audio Addiction. We have Relic Hearts with us, and he can say his name and what he does in the band.
I'm Johnny. I put my hair into man buns and I sing for Relic Hearts.
Awesome. My first question, Johnny, we kind of feels like a restart because it was, but how did you start out the band? How did you get your members?
So Dirk is my drummer and Nick is my bass player and Aaron is our guitar player. So Nick and I knew each other for a little while prior to me meeting Dirk, and they were in a band together at a later date and time, and their singer up and moved to Philadelphia, so they asked me to come down and audition, so I did, and they liked me, and so I kind of stuck it out with them, and we went from there. We were this pop punk band. We were called the Groundbreaking Ceremony. We won the Ernie Ball Battle of the Bands in 2010 in our area for Scranton to play at the Ernie Ball stage. And then when we were done with that, we basically didn't really know what else we wanted to do. So we started finishing up a record that like an EP, and then we jumped on Warped Tour in 2011 and 12, working for the tour. And we did catering, and we helped Kevin Lyman work the lines to get them organized and stuff. We just did whatever they wanted us to do to help out,
Yeah.
and it was cool because we became a part of the Warped family through doing that. And it's funny because I remember Sierra. Before I get into that, we jumped off of the Warped Tour in 2012, and we had an awesome summer in 2012. We made good friends with everybody, and we had lost one of our members in the Groundbreaking Ceremony. He decided to kind of pursue his own music, and he's getting married soon. He just kind of left and started doing his own thing. So we decided to go through. I started tour managing and doing merch for a band called Our Last Night, and so I started touring with them. And through touring with them, I ended up spending a few tours on the road with them and their manager, Curran, at the time. And he kind of convinced us to go through a rebranding and start writing some new music and kind of getting a different set of legs on us, since we were going to no matter what, we were going to end up becoming some sort of a new band. And so we did. We just wrote, and we didn't have a band name at the time. It was just me, Dirk, and Nick. And then our friend Scott was in the band too for a little while, and then he decided to go back to school, and so we just kind of amicably parted ways. And then we knocked down to a 4-piece, and we moved Nick from rhythm guitar to bass, and then we got Aaron Bossinger to join us as our lead guitar player. And we demoed some stuff out, and we finally came up with a name that we settled on, and then we just started, we started writing and started doing what we were doing.
Nice. And I think
That's a long-winded version of that.
Yeah. But I like
our friends, and then he said, "Hey, let's join a band." Said, "Okay," but we didn't know how to do that, so we failed at it. And then many moons later, when he fell into another band and their singer left, I joined, and then from there, it's just been it's just one thing after another. I feel like that story is cut up a different way, a million ways for a million different bands.
But I think it's good because I think for me it's whenever I ask that sort of question, I always like to get an idea of how the journey starts for a lot of bands, and I think it's always a good kind of backstory behind a lot of bands, and how it takes a lot of steps and a lot of processes to get to that certain point in a band's career. So I definitely appreciate that kind of storyline. But my next question, Johnny, what are some favorite venues you guys either like to play at or even go see shows at?
So we kind of enjoy shows of all different varieties. We used to have a venue in our area called the Crowbar, and when we did Warped Tour, we would talk to other bands and see if they had played it or if they remembered knew it, and Less Than Jake knew it, and Census Fail knew it. There were a bunch of bands that knew it from doing the drive-through Invasion tours and the ska tours that Less Than Jake used to do. But we don't really have a venue like that in our area anymore. We have a venue now. It's called the State Theater. That is an awesome venue to go see music in, but they don't really do like the rock genre or subgenre really at all. They did like a Sublime tribute band recently, Badfish, and that was like kind of a big deal. One of the promoters, I think, has a hold on for Jimmy Eat World, I think sometime this fall.
Oh, nice.
Or like a one-off date, so like that's kind of like a door-opening kind of opportunity for that place. But we just played the Trocadero in Philly in February, I think it was. And I mean, I like the Troc main stage; is awesome, and we have a lot of like all of our gear is like in flight cases and everything's like super heavy. So it's nice to have a place that's like got a flat load in. So favorite place to play, any place with a flat load in, with a big stage and a nice sound system. But like, you know, we just recently went and saw Nickelback in Pittsburgh at the Post-Gazette Pavilion or First Niagara Pavilion or whatever. And our friend Carrie, who we met on Warped Tour, she was kind of like our tour mom in 2011. She works for the tour, and she's sort of like she works locally with the catering companies and stuff like that to get like to source locally grown produce and whatnot. And she like spoils the, you know, all the dudes at Nickelback have their own, each dude at Nickelback has their own bus, and she like takes care of them. So she invited us down to come and see them and meet them. And so we went and we do like that, like the PNC Park or whatever it is, Post Gazette Pavilion or whatever it is. It's like the amphitheater in Pittsburgh. It's a place that Warped Tour goes to every year. That's a really cool place, and I like Stage AE is in Pittsburgh. It's a really nice place. Yeah, big venues with good sound and lots of lighting, and it's just anything that kind of fills out the aesthetic. But we also like we've had our fair share of fun playing shows. Like there's a place outside of Pittsburgh called, I don't even know if it's still there anymore. It used to be called the Keynote Cafe, and underneath it was like a small like basement room for like it fit like maybe 100 people in it, packed. And we played a few shows there that were packed, where you had to like fight just to walk up to the stage just to start that. And I mean, that's always awkward, but the shows were always great because it's, you know, it's a small outside of Pittsburgh town where kids are just super pumped to even have a show coming through their area in the first place. So like when you go and you play there, if they know who you are, they're really amped to like go and see you play. And yeah, a good crowd can kind of make a good show for a band. Like a terrible crowd, a crowd that's like just that's just like sitting there looking at you is like the worst thing ever to go through and play. You can't really play to the crowd anyway. You got to kind of like play your set and do your band and be your, you know, have your atmosphere about you. But you know, those are kind of like we're scattered. We're not like spoiled. Like we played huge shows, we played tiny shows, and I think a good show is just a good show if the crowd's involved and people are excited to be there. That's usually what we're most excited about.
Yeah, I'm also liking that, again, the kind of thoughts between like the bigger stages and sort of the smaller stages. I think that's always a good look, because there's some shows that I've really enjoyed where it's been literally no stage and just, you know, just you guys playing in the front. So, I mean, I like those sort of intimate shows, and I also enjoy those sort of shows where, you know, you get that sort of huge stage action, you know?
Yeah, we don't really do it enough, but like as much as we'd like to. And it's partially just because of the amount of time it takes to go and kind of rearrange a set into like a good acoustic set. But Boss is an amazing acoustic guitar player. Like he really is truly gifted. And I mean, he's that guy in our band that wherever we are, whatever we're doing, he's just sitting there and like playing. He'll just play. And it's mood based. Like if we want to like, if I want him to play me something angry on the acoustic, like he'll do it, and we just can like come with it. We just don't do it enough, but we're actually working out a system right now, and it's taken a little bit of trial and error, but to be able to direct line in and record live like single takes of like just songs that we want to perform. It could be a cover, it could be an original that we're transposing into acoustic or whatever, but just single lining in and then being able to actually like track it and record it video-wise through 3 different camera setups and be able to put it up. Something like that weekly that would just be like a little bit of an interesting flavor profile, I guess, for us as like a rock band. But so yeah, I don't know. Like it's really it's weird. I like playing all kinds of shows. Acoustics are usually they're super sketch a lot of times. It's not like playing, it's just an acoustic. If you're just an acoustic guitar and you're singing, it's dry. And there's something really cool about it. There's like a campfire vibe to that that's like really good. than if you're playing with an acoustic guitar, but the acoustic guitar is, plugged in or mic'd up, and you're playing through a PA, and now you got to do vocals through a PA. It's always really like if you don't practice it, it's really weird to like have like a set where you're singing, and you have to adjust. Like, I can't sing in the same way that I would listen
Yeah.
to this acoustic guitar right beside me. So I don't know. Yeah, we're all over the place. We like playing all kinds of shows.
Nice, Johnny. My next question is, what are some of your musical influences?
So we're really all scattered. Like we all, like, I think everybody kind of has like a Black Sabbath, Iron Maiden like interest at the base of everything, but that's more like Boss, and that's more like Aaron and Nick than myself or Dirk. Dirk really loves like old school like pop punk and emo and like just like really. He did like this DIY touring thing for a while, so he has like a lot of like a big affinity for a bunch of really smaller, like lesser known like underground pop punk bands.
Yeah.
And then I don't know, but we all kind of like the Beatles, the Stones. Like we're kind of like all over the place. Like we would like when we were writing Volatile, we would choose like we were on a song. We would kind of like an interesting game to play is like say, well, this is what the chord progression that we started with is. Like, what would be cool is if we did this thing like, the Beatles did, where we take this chord and it's like instead of or the Stones, like instead of like doing what you would expect as a normal progression on like the fourth chord, like go to something that's like diminished or augmented in some way that voices the guitar a little bit differently. And it makes for, and you don't think about it, but it ends up being like a little bit more interesting to listen to.
Yeah, absolutely.
Musically, and but I mean, like we're literally all over the place, like Janis Joplin and 30 Seconds to Mars. Like I was a huge Lost Prophets fan up until like whatever 3 years ago or 4 years ago it was when Ian was charged with child whatever the hell pornography. Like that really sucked for me because that was a band that I was really into for like 11 or 12 years, and actually on Warped Tour in 2012, Ian, their singer, he went with some girl somewhere, and she took him like 2.5 hours or so in the opposite direction of where we were going for the next date. So in St. Petersburg, he didn't show up. He wasn't there to sing their set at like 1 o'clock. And I was good friends with their merch guy, and had met the guys in the band through him, and they knew that I was a big fan. And we would hang out at the barbecues, and I'd be like, "Hey, like that, like you don't want to fanboy, but you're like, thank you for writing one of like my favorite records." And they were all really cool. And so they asked me to sing their set for them because they were like, we don't have anybody else. And Jamie in their band, he sings also, so he could kind of like take over if he needed to.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of like call and response parts where you kind of need that second vocal to kind of really pull it off. And I mean, that was like greatest day of my life. 2012, like I got to go out and play to all of their fans, and and sing this set that like Burn Burn was the song that they did that I had covered in like a high school band, and so it was like cool to play with the actual band behind. I don't know. We're all over the place. We're all pretty much like good fans of like Linkin Park and like. I don't know. It's all over. We're scattered. It's not fair because we literally listen to anything. If it's good, we're gonna listen to it for sure. Like I like Bring Me the Horizon. I like them more now ever than I have ever in the past, and I've really enjoyed seeing where they've grown. Mice and Men, I really started to get into them, and with Austin leaving, that's like really interesting. I'm not gonna like write it off because, like I said, good music is good music. If it's good and I like it, I like it. But I kind of got a vibe on their last record that it was kind of like it kind of had like a Maynard, a Perfect Circle, Tool kind of vibe to it, which I like. I mean, I like those interesting vocal melodies that Aaron brings to the table for them, and I don't know. I just pick apart music for whatever it sounds good. Like if I like it, I'm gonna like it, and hopefully, the people in the band aren't like raping babies or anything like that. That's a real quick way to alienate your fans, I think.
I would 100% agree with that. But
I feel like most people would 100% agree with that.
Yeah, if you're not, then something's wrong. But I do appreciate the
Nobody's
variety.
Like trying to for it. Nobody's like, well, I mean, like one baby is not so bad.
But I think for your band, I think for me, it's like variety is the spice of life. Everybody knows that. But I think I
you're gonna be
think
influenced by anybody anyway. Like you're
yeah,
gonna, whether you mean to or not. Like people are always doing things that, like pop music in the last like 5 years is doing some really interesting things. I think with the different, you know, melody progressions that they go through, and most of them, I mean, they're all in 4/4 still usually. But that's okay. You don't have to like reinvent the wheel to still make a good song. Like, you know, like 21 Pilots, one of the best bands that's happened in the last like decade, as far as I'm concerned. Like they're whatever they're doing, they're killing it. They're doing it so right, and you know, as a testament to that, they also kind of are really transparent about how like they're really good musicians, but like it's not by accident. Like they've been playing shows for years. They've been sleeping
yeah,
on couches for years. Like there's just that story. Like I said, like that exists for every band, and like you know, Fun right before they blew up.
well,
Like
yeah,
the singer was in another band prior to that, and so like you know he was sleeping on couches, and he had been
yeah,
doing it forever. And then you know 1 year out of the blue, it's like it starts steamrolling and picking up, and then they get a Grammy, and then they're all over every Honda commercial, and
yep,
you know they're like the next big commercially successful band. But yeah, I think like it's just interesting how every band kind of has that story. They don't really, you don't get to choose it. You know, you kind of fall, you have to go through the pitfalls yourself, and you can try to avoid certain ones, but some of them are like, some hard lessons are like the only lessons that you're going to get that are going to really engrave it into you why you do or don't do something, or why you do or don't actually need to be pursuing a career in music. Like, there's something about like doing it for love of the game, and then there's something about doing it for, you know, if you want to do it to be popular. Like it's yeah, everybody's got their reasons for why they do it, and I guess like the bands that you see that are end up you know on the mainstream side of things, and at least getting a lot of like media influence and popularity, they kind of, it doesn't happen by accident. And a lot of time, obviously it takes a team to make that kind of stuff happen, but also it takes like a certain level of dedication from the band members, because everybody's got to, you have to sacrifice like so much. Like I'm working 4 jobs right now. Relic Hearts is like one of those jobs.
no
It's
one
not
knows
even.
that, yeah,
That's like a 5th job. Like it's
yeah,
a whole other job that I have like, you know, time out of my life that I dedicate to, and I think that like you could look at that and say that that's, well, if you're working 5 jobs, then are you really doing music the right way? And I don't think it works like that. I think like if you're a musician and you write and you play music, you end up doing it because you want to do it regardless. Like if I
yeah,
left Relic Hearts tomorrow, I would still be fucking around with music. Like I would still be like doing something. Like I'm actually like right now I'm at my studio, and like it's where I do all like our editing for like our videos, and I do freelance videography, photography on the side, and like through music I opened up other creative doors for myself, and they've all been equally you know, challenging and rewarding. But as busy as I am right now, like I got up and I work for, I live at in State College, Pennsylvania, and it's in the middle of Pennsylvania, and I
yeah,
work for Penn State University, and I just took on a job there as an associate producer for all of like a lot of like content, like whatever they need me to do, I
yeah,
go and I do. And they, you know, the senior producer that hired me, Don, likes me for my attention to detail, and that's what everybody seems to like about me when it comes to like working with me creatively, because I have that attention to detail. It doesn't mean I can do everything. It just means that I've got you know, an innate like attention to detail that is something that I really like. But I don't know. I just think like I wanted to be this. I've always wanted to be this busy. Like I wake up, and if I'm busy from like this morning from 9 a.m. until, you know, 12 p.m. tonight, I mean that's a long ass day, but that's what I want to do. Like I enjoy being, you know, I don't know if it's necessarily always gainfully employed, but like bountifully employed. Like I'm definitely always doing a lot of fucking work. But you know, that's just something that I enjoy doing. Like we have a bunch of music videos that we're sitting on right now, and it's so hard to like not put them out. And I want to put them all out immediately, but there's like a certain bar that we set for ourselves for what we want to do with our music and our you know, our legacy as a band. Like if we break up tomorrow, then what are we going to be? Like this band that covered Lord and Taylor Swift, and then we put out, you know, some originals and then a record, and then it's like if we disappear, to be like whatever, you just fall into the ether and then nobody ever sees you again.
yeah,
But you know, like that's not where I see us stopping. And you know, we've got these videos that we're working on, and every video is super important to us, and not like it's like it's our, oh, they're our babies, but like they deserve, if they're telling a story, like we want to tell the visual narrative and aspect of our music is something that we also take just as seriously as when we're in the studio. Like we wrote our record in one summer in 2016, 15, and then it was like a whole year through going back and forth with mixing and mastering with, like, we did Bert and Eric from Captain Chunk
Nice.
mixed it with our record, and I toured with them, and I'd listened to their demos, and then I'd listened to the versions of the song that got put out that Fearless Records made them go to Joey Sturgis to have mixed and mastered because they want to have aim on the record. And then you listen to like the A and the B, and I'm like, yeah, but your demo sounds like way better. Like, why don't they just let you save the money and like let you do that and then spend that money elsewhere, like in marketing or whatever? And that's just like not how some labels work. But as a process of touring with them, like I learned how great they are at like outboard mixing, mastering, compression. Like they really get it. Like those crazy French bastards, like they totally get it. But so we did our record with them for mixing and mastering, and there was a lot of back and forth. Like it took us like maybe 8 or 9 months to get it done, and then when we finally released it, it was like we had just been sitting on it for too long, and we were kind of the mindset that like anybody who wants the music is going to get the music right away. But there's going to be people that don't even discover our band until we put out the next cover or the next single or whatever. So who gives a shit if we got 1 million downloads on our album first week, other than the old people that run the industry that want to see your first week numbers, that most of them know everybody is faking anyway. Like it's just a really flawed system, and so like if you play into that, you're always going to feel like you're never getting anywhere. But if you just shut the hell up and do what you're going to do anyway and focus on it, like you actually get a lot fucking further along. And I think the end result that we found is that we're actually happier too, because like we elected to stay unsigned because that's what works. It works better for us. Like the income we make off of our like residual royalties from everything, like they come from a couple different angles. So we don't have to actually pay for our band, like our van or like our or anything like that. Like we all kind of like collectively invested in a lot of stuff to get. And we spent like 20 grand on our record. We bought like a new trailer, that's 5 grand. We bought a new van, that was another 10 grand. Like, and then I alone, like in my studio, I've got probably like $15,000 to $20,000 worth of like studio equipment, my camera gear, like microphones, just everything. Like it all adds up. But like I said, like if you want to do it, you just you're going to do it regardless. And I think it's really weird to see how discouraged certain bands can get because a label for whatever reason, or it tells them they're not good enough, or like if a bunch of your friends are telling you you're not good enough, like they're either bad friends or like you maybe need to go back to the drawing board and try to figure something out. But I don't know. What are the odds?
I think for like what you're getting at is like, and I would attribute the same sort of process for me doing this channel. I think it's like if you love it enough, you'll put enough time into it, you'll put enough care into it, you want to make sure that everything's right. Like even per se our interview, we were doing it over the phone, and I didn't want to put out something that I first of all can't get behind, and that I care about every band that I put on here. I just want them to have the same exposure and the same sort of appeal that a lot of people would enjoy, and maybe it's a different side of them that you don't get necessarily through a song or like a video or something like that. So
right, for sure. And I think like I used to watch interviews that like people put out that like of the band when nobody knew them, and like that was always interesting to me because like that perspective is when most of those bands are still hungry for it and like just exhausted, and all they want to do is like just see they just want to see the dream through, and they want to go through and get as far as they can. And there's something definitely to be said for that. Like if you like if this video only gets 100 views, is it a waste? I don't know. I mean, if somebody at some point watches this, and you just never know, like
exactly.
Everything is like there's just no scenario you can possibly say where okay, well maybe we are like really flopping or whatever the hell, like, whatever that means. I don't know, but like if you're really adamantly trying to go after it and do stuff, like if this comes out and it does well, great. If it doesn't do well, it's like, cool. Somebody somewhere, one of those 100 views might be the
Yeah.
person that writes the next song that becomes, you know, the next big single for whatever. Or they could just be, it could just inspire somebody not to fucking kill themselves. Like,
Yeah.
literally, it could be anything. And you never know. Like, people take from shit all kinds of different things. But, you know, we just try to do right by us and by the people that support us. And, I think that's like really all you can do is hold yourself accountable to yourself and the things that you're trying to do, and stay the course. You know, go after it. If you mean it, and you want to go after it. Like, go after it.
Absolutely, absolutely, Johnny. Well, we kind of took a little bit of a ways out, but it's all right. We're gonna reel it back in a little bit.
Yeah, go for it. Sorry.
But next question, Johnny. Kind of a follow up to the influences. What have been some bands that you've been jamming more recently?
We've been kind of digging. We wanted to do kind of like, as the influences is a really big thing, and I think that's something that a lot of bands talk about.
Absolutely.
Interviews. They get interviewed that often. Like, people ask, "Oh, who are your influences?" Like, that's a generic question.
Yeah.
As far as like the landscape of interview questions goes, but for us, it was like, yeah, what actually does influence? Like, 4 Year Strong's doing their 10-year Rise or Die Trying
Yes.
tour. And Nick is going to be, I know he's going to go to that. I don't even know if he even knows that tour is going on, but I know that the second he finds out, he's going to find a way to get to one of those shows. And, you know, so that's like a band that's huge for him. So one of the things we've been talking about is like digging into our influences and just kind of like cherry picking. And if we come across a song that we really like, that's something that we grew up on or something that really inspired us at some point, anywhere in the path of being musicians,
Yeah.
then we're going to take a crack at it. We're going to do a cover of it. Like, and that's like kind of our way to kind of explore that a little bit more. So we've been listening to like Nirvana, and we've been listening to like Bush and Tool, and I've been listening to like pretty much repeatedly since the album came out. Bring Me the Horizon's new record. Boss has like, Aaron has like a revolving list of things. We have like a group list in our van from when we're traveling, because if one of us takes control of the radio, it's going to be one thing that everybody hates for the, you know, however duration you're in the vehicle.
Yeah.
And so we're and trying to avoid that, we've actually been like creating a list and letting it just play. You know, so it's there. And if anybody wants to listen to anything specifically, if we're talking about something like, oh, did you hear that so and so dropped this new record or whatever, then we'll go and we'll check that out. But for the most part, yeah, I don't know. That's pretty much it. Like, we've been listening to a lot of the things that really kind of made us want to like pick up instruments in the first place. And so that's part of like we're doing like a kind of like a series, like not necessarily an EP, but like a small series of releases of, you know, songs that influenced us, kind of and then we're not the first to do it, obviously. Like 4 Year Strong, speaking of them, like they did
They did like a bunch of 90s songs, I'm pretty sure, or something like
right,
that.
they covered, like, out, and they covered a bunch of songs that were really cool in their style. And so I don't know. Yeah, I think that's kind of like what we're looking to do, just because I think that the general consensus when people listen to our music is that it's good, that they like it. And, you know, so that series might not do well at all, though, because it's like a lot of music that I like, and they're not like charting now. So what are the odds to get a lot of views? But like I said, like, whatever. If you're a fan of us and you like those songs, you want to know what we're into, like, that's a cool way to kind of get into the things that we listen to, or discover a band. Like, I used to discover bands that did songs and be like, man, I love that song, and my mom would be like, yeah, you know they didn't write that, right? Like, but that's been going on forever. Like Elvis Presley doing, you know, Dolly Parton songs. Like, that's a thing. It's a thing that has been going on in the industry for a really long time, and it's I think if you think about it, that's the best possible way you could possibly have to branch out and meet new fans and have new people discover you guys.
I also feel like it's more personable, like, you know, when you have something that, you know, resonates with you. I mean, I personally like that. I know I can't speak for everybody, but I like when bands have something that, you know, what they grew up with, that's something a little bit more on what they like. And I feel like for me, like you said, it's about finding a new band that, you know, maybe I hadn't heard about, or, you know, or I hadn't listened to in a while, or something.
Are you a Nirvana fan at all?
I am a Nirvana fan. Yeah, I love Nirvana. I haven't listened. I haven't listened to it in a good minute, I will say that, but I definitely like their stuff. I feel like that kind of genre is resurfacing anyway, but I do
Right, and so
do.
that's kind of the point. Is like so I'll tell you because we haven't really like announced anything. And honestly, it's completely at our leisure to when we're gonna get this done. But Boss just ordered a new guitar, so he spent
Nice.
like $2,500 on this really nice acoustic guitar. He's always wanted like a really nice Gibson like acoustic guitar.
Yeah.
So he just ordered one. And it gets in on Tuesday, and so one of the things that we had talked about doing with these like single take live sessions of covers. I don't know if this will be one of those songs, but we wanted to cover "Lounge Act" by Nirvana, and it's off of Nevermind. And it's not even like one of their singles. Like we could do a single, sure. Like everybody could do the single that everybody knows the band by. But I think like if we did a song and nobody knew it, or they knew it but they didn't know how they knew it, then like I said, like somebody who's not a Nirvana fan might be like, that song's pretty interesting actually. Like, and obviously all of Nirvana music is, and so later the Foo Fighters, like it's just I don't know. I feel you. I agree with you with that.
Nice, Johnny. My next question is, we're gonna get into some fun questions. Favorite food to eat?
Sushi. I'm like a big sushi guy. I lived in Japan for a little while, and my major in college when I did undergrad here at Penn State was Japanese and East Asian Studies.
Nice.
So I lived in Japan for a little bit, did my study abroad, and I got to train in a martial art that I was really interested in while I was out there, and had a really good time. And as a corollary to that, I spent a lot of time eating really good sushi. So the benefit is I know what I like. The bad thing is there's a lot of terrible sushi out there.
Yeah.
So you have to like kind of pick your battles with that. But we've got a cool one or two really good places in our area. Thankfully, Penn State draws like a nice diverse crowd of different types of foods and things like that. So we've got really good Indian and Chinese food and Korean and so I have my fix of like East Asian and Asian culture.
Nice. All right, Johnny. Next question: if you could pick somebody to collaborate with, who would it be?
That is a really good question. I'd like to do something really different. I can't speak for the rest of the guys. I mean, I think like if we were just gonna cherry pick and say, oh, who would you like to collaborate with? Like, Dave Grohl, or you can pick anybody. But I think interestingly enough, I would really like to. I'd like to collaborate with a lot of different artists that are kind of like at our level.
Okay.
Because I feel like when we talk to other bands that are kind of like they feel like they're not doing as well as us, or they feel like they're doing better than us, there's like a disconnect between like how, like I said, how everybody perceives progress.
Exactly.
But like there's just bands that are doing it they're like at the same outreach of people that we are, and I'd love to do something like that. I'd really love to work with. I really want to work with. It's not an artist; it's a producer. I really want to work with David Bendeth. I really want to work with John Feldman. I would really love to work with like Mark Hoppus. I would love to work. I mean, we love Blink. That's what I said. Like we're all over the place. But I'd love to write something with like Newfound Glory. I feel like that would be, or not Newfound Glory. Sum 41.
Oh,
like Derek. I think Derek would be a really awesome person to write songs with. I think we would mesh well in terms of like our heavier interest in music, and then also our like melodic interest in music. So that's like kind of I'm kind of like a little scattered, but definitely those are some pretty solid ones, I think.
So you're thinking like for the more kind of local bands, like bands that, like you said, they're on your level, you'd like to do maybe like a split or something? That would be kind of cool.
Yeah, like a big group split. Like if everybody did 2 songs and contributed 2 songs to it, or everybody does 1 song, you've got 10 bands and they're just literally scattered across like an entire full-length album of originals that every member contributes something. Maybe it's like this drummer and this guitar player, and like. Yeah, I guess it would be interesting to see how you would brand it in terms of who wrote the song. But I think if you've got the primary songwriter and you switch vocalists around, that's a really good way to kind of like explore and do some stuff. And I think with the advent of YouTube and so many people like doing stuff online, and you can find musicians like everywhere now.
Oh yeah.
There's a lot of like Alex Goot. I tour managed him for a short period.
Awesome.
And I think he's coming up on like 3 million subscribers on YouTube. But really gifted, and honestly, I'd like to collaborate with him. I think just because he's awesome to be around. We've always enjoyed drinking together, and he's a good time. Like he's a total recluse, and he is just somebody he's nerdy and goofy, but he's hilarious, and he's a really nice guy, and he's also really talented. He's a great musician. He's definitely somebody that would be on that list for me.
That would be cool. And then even another thought with the kind of the split thing. I've always liked when bands do, like, they'll take a song that your band wrote that they like, and they kind of put their own spin on it, and then you maybe take another song from a different band, you put your spin on their song. So I mean,
Yeah.
there's endless possibilities on that front. But those are some things that, maybe Relic Hearts might do in the future. But next question, Johnny. If you could play another musical instrument besides the one you know how to play, what would it be?
I'm like this close to picking up a ukulele. I just went to go randomly the other day, and I because I've been working a lot lately, I've actually been like putting a decent amount of money back, and they're not that expensive if you get like
Yeah.
a decent one, or an entry level uke. But when I visited my mom in Hawaii, they had some really nice like handmade ones, and the nicer ones that I wanted were like $1,000-$1,500 or so for like this little piece of wood.
Yeah.
And it's probably made from driftwood for all I know. But I feel like that's something that there's a lot less, way less frets. It's a four-stringed instrument. It's, I feel like it's a little bit more forgiving. I don't have any, like, I don't play guitar, so I'm like, I dabble and I'm learning, but like, to me, like guitar is really interesting because like we think about guitar chords as in like notes, but if you're a guitar player and you never took like formal training or anything like that, you don't think about guitar in terms of notes. You think about it in terms of numbers. You're like, 3, 5, 7, like that's this note, And, but the ukulele's got a different setup for structure for it. So I feel like if I were really going to dive into something new, I feel like that'd be something that would be different, and I think that fits the vibe of what I would like to do more. If I'm just like by myself, just taking off and playing an instrument, that'd be a little bit easier for me and to tackle. And so that's what I'm looking at. I'm like not pulling the trigger on anything yet because I think I'd like to get something that's like just, I don't know, epic. Like I want to find one that's owned by some like 13th century, Samoan guy who played him in a $3,000 one, and then I don't even want to touch it because I don't want to break it.
No, I will say ukulele is much easier. I also play guitar, so my aunt has a ukulele as well. So I would say that if you want to go with something easier, I would 100% say ukulele.
I appreciate the vote of confidence that that I can take it.
100%, 100%. But my next question, Johnny, I don't know how big of a video game fan you are, but I usually ask this question: if you could be a video game character, who would you be?
Man, that's really tough because I am a video game guy. I think Ezio Auditore from
Yes.
Assassin's, because that's more my speed, I think, anyway, in terms of like what a character could do. Free running sounds awesome, and parkour is sick to watch, and that game is awesome. I still haven't gotten through the movie. I was on a flight back from Hawaii trying to watch the movie in the plane, and the Wi-Fi kept going down, so I couldn't get through the whole show, get through the whole movie. But I that's like, now that I've reminded myself, I'm going to watch that as soon as possible. But yeah, awesome. He's a badass, and he's suave, and he's missing a finger. Like he's like they set out and let you know like he's a cool ass character. He's a badass, but he loses this finger because he has to. He's like deformed, and it was like a really interesting way of seeing a character that's like a hero type being disfigured in some way, and they focused in on it. Like they were like, "This, you need to know this."
Yeah. I like how grounded your answer was. You're like, not something like super crazy that you don't think ever will happen. You're like, you know what? I want to be the guy from Assassin's Creed. I feel like that could definitely be possible. So
I mean, I don't know if I would like run around like killing people, but I for sure definitely go around and like gather a bunch of like the flags and like find all the scrolls and shit. Like that's more my like hide and seek. That's
more your speed.
Yeah, I feel like that's something that I would definitely do.
All right, Johnny. Next question. In your opinion, who puts on a great live show?
Who puts on a great live show? I just saw 21 Pilots the weekend. I thought they were awesome. I don't know. I feel like I got a list of bands that I feel like really good live. 21 Pilots was great. I think they're kind of like really good with like engagement and kind of really every show is like for Firefly they had like a special set, and I'm sure I mean the set might be generally the same as what they normally play, but you know, what was cool about their set at Firefly was that they took the time to go through and just say, hey, like this is here's an intro video of them like shitting on Coachella, and then Firefly, we love Firefly, and they had really good, it seemed like, at creating like this bond in the crowd, and that was something that I really appreciated. I felt like that was something that could be easily overlooked, but really is something that is really like invaluable. If you're an artist and you're playing a show and you're just showing up and playing your songs, I think it can be good. It depends on the style of music, but I think it's a disservice to your fans if you're playing shows to your fans, if you don't kind of give them an experience that they can kind of take something from and go home, and not just in the, hey, buy my VIP meet and greet and you know, you can meet me and hang out and we'll have pizza, but like in that here's a truly organic experience that we're having. Like this show is going to be the only one where we have that, and if you're a smart band, I think you build those kind of moments into your set so that you can have you know, that connection with your fans.
Certainly. All right, next question, Johnny. If you could compile a dream tour, who'd be on it?
A dream tour. Man, that's a really difficult question. I feel like I don't know. The tour would be. I don't want to throw a bunch of my favorite bands all together and like have it not make any sense whatsoever. But I feel like yeah, I don't know.
I mean, there's two options.
I was really excited for Blinken Park that was going to go on this summer. I was like really excited about it, and that, you know, with Chester passing and everybody kind of receding away from that, and obviously the tour dates getting canceled and stuff like that. That was kind of like an example of something that I thought that was really cool. I really wanted to experience that because those are two bands that I listened to like CDs on repeat while I played Final Fantasy VII whenever I was like. This is one of those things where like I really wish that tour or those couple of one-off shows had been able to happen, because that would have been, you know, something that was really cool. But you know, I don't know. I really don't know. I feel like that one's hard. I feel like I would not be good at putting a tour together. I'm like barely good at trying to find a way to get us on a tour. So I don't know if I could actually like go through and say that I have the right to say whether or not I could put together another tour. 21 Pilots, I think, a bunch of fun bands would be cool to see together. Like Blink-182 would be awesome to see with most bands that they, you know, could possibly go out with, you know, and I'd like to see like an ultimate got me through high school tour package of like Sum 41 and Newfound Glory and Blink-182 and like Alkaline Trio, and I don't even know what the order would be because it's such an absurd lineup, but Jimmy World for sure. Wow. Yeah, I don't know. That's a good question.
That'd be wild. I'd like that. That needs to happen. If it isn't already like possibly in the works.
Like that tour. Like when's the last time pop punk sold out an arena? Like we're talking like that's gonna draw people out of the. Why that tour doesn't happen, I don't know.
Listen, you just gotta listen to Johnny here, guys. This is the real deal, right? Going down, you know. So
I'm not right about much, but this is one.
This is the one thing you got on lock. I
got this one.
I back you on that. I back you on that. Anyway, Johnny.
Then, like, Aiden's the headliner for no and then guest guitar and you know, bass sessions from different members, and that sounds pretty legit. You got to put like one powerhouse on there.
There you go. I like that. Next question, Johnny. Favorite TV show, favorite movie?
Favorite TV show? I love Rick and Morty. Like I feel like that's so played out because like everybody like likes it, but there are so many layers and depths to that show, and anybody who's a fan of it really kind of gets that.
Oh yeah.
But it's short. Like it's such a bummer that like I can't have access to 1 million episodes that are all different. And then, you know, an alternate universe, I'm sure that exists, but not in mine. And it would be sick if I could actually get that.
Nice.
But I love Rick and Morty. Favorite movie. I love movies, and this is really a hard question. I love good stories. So always mood-based. I love like the Star Wars franchise. I'm a huge fan. I'm really excited for the next Star Wars movie to come out in December. I love what they're doing with the Star Trek series, and I'm sure that a lot of Trekkies are probably like rolling in their graves hearing me say that. But I like things that are reimagined and reinvented for people that otherwise wouldn't have gotten into it. Because it's like the
That's
Star
true.
Trek market is going to it's going to fare terribly over the fact that, nobody is going to watch, not nobody, but like people that aren't already fans of it are not going to go back and re-experience,
Star Trek.
Star Trek from the beginning in 2017 and enjoy it. Yeah, it's like it's kind of campy. Like you're doing it because you feel like that's what you should do, but not maybe because you actually want to do it. Or like I love watching like really old, crappy like B movies. Like B horror movies are the best. And if you can find one with like Henry Rollins in it, it's even better. They're terrible, but they're so good. And my girlfriend watches the new version of 90210, and I remember my sisters vaguely watching it whenever I was younger, when I was like a kid. But I watched this new version, and it's fucking atrocious. Like it's terrible. The acting is terrible. Like all of the acting is. I'm not saying I can do better. I'm just saying, if I watch it, it is strictly to tear it the fuck apart because I cannot enjoy it for a story. Like it's a soap opera, like I get it, and it is terrible. It is just so good.
All right, next question, Johnny. If you could only listen to one album for a month straight, what album would it be?
Okay, this one's easy, actually. This one seems like it would be hard. It's actually really easy. There is a record by a band called Dredge. They're from the Bay Area of California, and it's Dredge, Dredg.
There you go.
And as often as I can, I try to turn people onto them. They were a band that really got me through high school in a very musically and creative way. And they put a record out when I was younger called El Cielo. And it's just a powerful record. It's there's a lot going on in it. It has a lot of different themes and concepts that go into the album to kind of like bring it full circle for the listener and for anybody who's a fan of what they're singing about or what their songs are about and the things that they have going on. And there's just so many layers to that record, and I've already listened to it a million times, I'm sure. And I feel like that's a record that I would definitely easily push on anybody. It's a record I recommend to sleep to. It's a record I could recommend for like having on in the background at your house.
There you
like,
go.
When you're doing stuff. Like it's just a great, solid record by a great band.
Awesome. And lastly, of course, the most important thing, tell them about your band, where they can find you at, and anything coming up in the next couple months.
We are going to, I think we're going to do like an Oops, We Fucked Up and Didn't Finish This Song series like sometime in December, because we started so many songs this year, and like between moving and relocating and stuff like that, there's just certain things where like, we kind of missed the deadline on that, like we'll just start the next thing or whatever. And so I feel like it would behoove us to actually put a bunch of stuff out. But you can find us on YouTube and Instagram and Twitter and Facebook. All of them are / or at Relic Hearts. And yeah, I would probably just say look forward to some new music. I've got music videos that are in the pipeline right now. And like we have performance portions for like entire music videos. And now I just have to go through and finish up tightening up like the narrative scenes. But my OCD is never going to let me be happy with it without. So yeah, look forward to it, because I feel like I'm just going to do like a D-Day kind of scenario that by the end of this year, if we haven't put out anything, I'm going to put out everything and then going to let it go out. But yeah, I would just definitely be on the lookout for new music. We're in the process of writing right now. We're trying to locate like a cabin where we could go for like a week or two and just do some pre-production and write and record. We could take our studio stuff with us and actually like legitimately demo stuff out while we're gone, and then if we tighten it up when we get back, or if we finish it there and we are able to go through and retrack and tighten stuff up, then we're good to go. But we'd like to release an EP by the end of December, and then we've got some covers that are in the works, like I was talking about, and we're going to try to start doing some weekly things to just sort of like boost our metrics on Facebook and YouTube a little bit, and just to kind of like it seems like we've disappeared and we've kind of been like low key for a while, but it's literally like between all the meetings we've had with all the different people that we're working with, like it just makes sense to not push anything out there before we're ready for it.
Of course.
Even if we did release it and it flopped, we wouldn't have to stop. We would have to just keep going and recording the next thing or doing the next thing. it's just nice to know that we give the attention and detail to the things that we're working on currently that we're in the process of putting out, so that whenever it goes out there, it gets received the way we wanted it to be received. And that seems to be a common theme. Like, people like listen to us like pretty consistently, and they're like, wow, you guys are actually really good. And it's like something about saying you're in a band and then showing people your music. There's this big disconnect where people are like, oh, he's in a band, okay. And that's something that we've always thankfully never been, we've never had to worry about. Like, we are actual musicians, and like we do like to play, and we do sound as good as we do live and, you know, on the record. And so I think that's pretty much where I'm at with that.
Nice.
I feel like that's where I'll leave off. I'm gonna ramble, dude. I'm in a ramble mood today. My brain's fried. I feel like I just talked my way through this interview.
That's
like,
okay. That's okay. I love the honesty. I love the sort of, you know, the sort of realism. I don't feel like you get that too often. So first of all, I want to thank Dave. He's the boy. I love that guy. Thanks for hooking it up. He's the man. But more importantly, thank you to Johnny. Go check out Relic Hearts. There will be links in the description where you can go check out music, their band, their Facebook. Go give them a like. Go give them a follow. I'm sure they really appreciate it, and give them some support. I just want to say I'm a huge fan of you guys. Like, I think for me, it was more or less like a cool experience, just from a fan, and not only a fan but also doing these sort of interviews to kind of interview you. I've been following you since I don't even know, I even back like when you were doing covers. I think like I was watching like an I the Mighty video, ironically enough, wearing an I the Mighty shirt, but I plug them, yeah. But ironically enough, I was like stumbling upon a video on YouTube, and I saw this cover, and I was like, I don't even remember which one, it was a while ago, but I was like, this is crazy. These guys sound awesome. I hope they are like much bigger and, you know, get much farther along. And, you know, I was listening to those, and I was like, well, I wonder if they did original music. So I checked out some of the original music, and I'm like, damn, this is so good. So for me to just plug you guys is a dream and an honor. So definitely,
that blows my mind, honestly. Like, I don't really ever consider, like, I don't think I'm ever gonna wrap my mind around the idea that people are like fans of us, but like I'm super approachable, and I like to talk. Like, this talk, I can have this talk with 700 people. I will do it every day for the rest of my life. Like, I enjoy talking to people. I'm definitely a people person, and I'm definitely glad that we have your support, and I'm glad that you like invited us on. And I mean, I look forward to like sending you stuff that like there's a dude that did a review of our record, and he just absolutely shits on it, and it's terrible. And like the whole format for everything is terrible, but I fucking go to it constantly because it's super humbling, and I show it to my friends. I'm like, look at this.
He just took a shit on me.
I'll find the link and I'll send it to you because it is fucking priceless. And I encourage you know, people to not be afraid to like reach out. And I mean, obviously, like with social media, people are they're trying to reach out and talk to everybody, but like that's not how it works. It can't work like that, and that's okay. But I mean, in the event that anybody ever reaches out to me, if I've got the time, which I never have the time, we've been trying to do this for like 2 weeks now, but like, you know, I'm glad to have you as a fan and a supporter, and you know, and hopefully as a friend. I don't really I kind of keep the lines very blurred because I think that they're very easily one and the same for me, because I think like support is support, and if that means I got to call you a fan or call you one thing or another, it's fine. But I mean, if you're actively supporting anybody, I consider those are people you call friends. Those are people that are like supporting you. Like you said, you've been doing it for a while. So I mean, like, I really appreciate it. I'm glad that we were able to set this up, and that Dave was able to be like the
facilitator.
I say the facilitator for sure.
Well, thank you to, of course, Johnny for coming on. Like I mentioned a million times, go check out Relic Hearts. They really appreciate it. You know, I'm sure they have merch store. If you'd like to pick something up from them, go do it. If you enjoyed this interview, it was almost close to an hour, so definitely, if you stuck it out, thank you for watching this. Thank you for subscribing. I really appreciate it. We're almost at 100,000 views, which is insane. So I'm thankful. I'm thankful for everyone here. Also, this video is gonna go out a little bit late, but check out our merch store. We just put it out today, September 1st. Really excited for it. We put up some new designs. Hopefully, if you like our channel enough, you'll support me. And thank you again, Johnny, for coming on, man. Can't tell you how much of a pleasure it's been.
Thanks for having me.
Hey guys, hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching. Of course, if you enjoy what we do, make sure to go check out the other series we do. We do album reviews, we do band interviews, and we do live videos, so definitely go check that out. Hit that subscribe button. It really helps out our channel, helps us grow. Make sure to hit that like button as well. Go follow us on social media. That's all down below. We try to keep that as updated as possible. We also made a new website where we'll be posting photos of upcoming concerts and stuff like that, which you can go check out at audioaddictionmedia.com, and come get your fix with us, guys. Talk to you later. Deuces.